This is Fritz Frivolous with continuous live coverage of the corner of Curious Lane and Just Because Boulevard, the epicenter of the alien invasion. And this just in, King Kong is fighting the Mobile Suit Gundam. And of course, all of this is happening amidst World War IV, making it pure pandemonium. If only Captain Planet were still alive to save us all. Dude, could you imagine?
Mutation. It is the key to our evolution. It has enabled us to evolve from a single-celled organism into the dominant species on the planet. This process is slow, normally taking thousands and thousands of years. But every few hundred millennia, evolution leaps forward. Insightful words by an insightful man. I am of course speaking of Professor Charles Xavier, founder of the Xavier School for the Gifted. A safe haven for people who are different, for mutants who have developed superhuman abilities and incredible powers. What if you could have these special gifts? What would you hope they would be? Let us attend a class with two educated and evolved mutants, Will and Tom, as they express their powers for show and tell.
Hello everybody, I'm Tom Case.
And I'm Will Stark.
We actually had a listener email us, and they asked a really good question. So I'm going to take their question. Thank you, Tanner.
Thank you, Tanner.
And the question is, what if superpowers were real?
Ooh, okay.
Now, we're going to establish parameters here.
All right, here we go. Yeah,
yes.
Here it is. All right.
I know you love your parameters.
I do.
And I actually am starting to get, I'm starting to become a fan of these parameters because of the fact that
we gotta make a box to play in, man.
Yeah, because I was thinking about this question for a while, and you know, it's like the same question with, you know, what if magic was real? It would be way too open.
Yeah,
you know I mean,
I was about to ask you 5 questions.
Yeah,
to set
exactly.
Parameters, so go for it.
Okay, so the parameters are, it's only going to be inherent mutant abilities. It's not going to be superpowers from magic, no alien, biology powers, and no technological abilities. So nothing from technology.
Okay, it's all just genetic mutation. It's very similar to the anime My Hero Academia, where everyone's born with a quirk.
Yeah, exactly like that.
I take it like the powers can vary fairly widely, though, right? Like.
Yeah,
what's the max power anyone's getting to? Like, can you give me a few examples of like maybe some actual hero analogs?
So
go ahead.
Yeah, you'll be able to pretty much think of almost like run the gamut of all the powers you can almost think of.
Okay,
like,
so my question is does someone on the level of Superman?
No, okay, so let me finish the let me finish the parameters. Oh yeah, so
I will refrain from speaking. Go ahead.
So I will allow radioactivity because
why? What?
Okay, the reason why I want to allow that
because you want the Hulk.
No, well, not exactly, but it's because of the fact that I loved the fact that, I mean, we know more about radioactivity today than back in like the 40s and 50s and 60s when these comic books were, when some of these characters were, you know, created mm-hmm. and they just used radioactivity for anything, right?
They did. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, especially when it could change your genetics, right? That's what they would always, the radioactive, you know, material changes genetics. That's the only reason why I'm saying that.
Okay, that's fine. And for those listeners who don't know, the Hulk is Tom's absolute favorite hero.
Oh, yes. The absolute, you know, strongest one there is. He's the best. But here's what's going to answer your question.
Okay.
You're only allowed 2 powers.
Okay.
So there will not be a Superman. There's no one that's going to be, you know.
Yeah, Superman is a conglomerate. He's got all the cool powers.
Yeah, exactly. And all in one almost, you know.
Only 2 powers. Okay,
almost unbeatable, you know what I mean, to an extent. But here's the thing, too. And this is why I wanted to say in the parameters, like, inherent mutant abilities, is because so they're never going to run out. It's not going to be something where you use this power and then all of a sudden you depleted it. However, it is going to be like flexing a muscle.
Yes.
You will become tired and you will have to rest.
You're going to slow down. Yeah.
And you are susceptible to having psychosomatic issues. So if you were, like, for example, like maybe you're having a stressful day with these superpowers or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, some people
experience so much stress that they become blind. It's not that something's actually wrong with their eye, you know what I mean, eyes, but it's like psychosomatic. It's you know what I mean, like it's just done from like a mental breakdown. So like an example I can give would be in like with Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire, right? Yeah. He starts to lose some of his. Did you not see that one? No,
I'm just like, why are you reminding me of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man? But continue.
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was good.
I'm not having this conversation right now. But
this is for a future episode.
So he loses some of his powers, right?
So that could happen to you.
Okay,
I just wanted to let you know.
Okay, so that's a possibility.
And basically, you know, my objective for this question is, you know, let's discover what your origin story is. You know, determine how you would use these powers.
Okay, do I get to choose my powers, or like what determines the powers? It's just random.
It's gonna be random. Yeah, you're born, and then I really do like the story. The way that the X-Men stories go, where you're born, and then usually around puberty you start to develop. And a lot of times your powers too are connected emotionally. Right. You know what I mean? Like when you know, the power of the intensity of this power that you may have could be stronger or weaker depending on maybe your emotions. Not all of them. I'm just saying it could be.
I think final question I need to know, is it completely universal? Does everyone have superpowers, or is it like a percentage of the population? If so, what is the percentage?
I'm going to say it's 5% of the world's population, so it's very little. Like and it's not something that's have already been happening. They have discovered this within the last 25 years.
Okay. Yeah. So I can see this going one of two ways. We're either going to go down the X-Men route, where the people are very much feared, very much marginalized, and the government super tries to take control of it. Or it goes the way of the show on Amazon Prime, The Boys, where it becomes like this publicly controlled via corporation and media propaganda thing. And so like superheroes in that sense, they don't have their own real agency. They're kind of under control and under direction from powers that are higher than them.
You named two. Okay, so Marvel, right? Obviously, they done phenomenal job with mutant stories. You know what I mean? I feel like this is, and The Boys too. The Boys is one of my favorite shows, and I feel like it's going to probably be a mesh. You know what I mean?
It might be a mix. I think registration is going to happen. It's going to have to happen. You're going to have to be able to keep track of people and what they can do, because
some may be dangerous.
Some might be so dangerous as, you know, being able to like blow up a building. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We already have all kinds of crazy issues in the United States when it comes to people with weapons and what they're capable of doing, you know, now, let alone if you turn someone into a living bomb that can keep exploding, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just ad infinitum. So, we're going to have registration. There's going to have to be an entire division of law enforcement, like dedicated to tracking down, registering, and subduing those with powers. Yeah. But then they're going to have powers too, more than likely.
Yeah, so, because the problem would be is like, how do you combat someone like that?
Yeah, exactly. You know? I mean, to build giant sentinels and
you know. See, you know what? It's funny. I'm glad that you brought that up though, because of the fact that, you know, I do feel that would happen. However, I feel like, you know, building giant sentinels is something so outlandish but that only works in like the Marvel comics and stuff, you know.
And even there it's kind of silly. I think
I feel like the government's work when they would be trying to do this would be so covert that.
Do you think so? I don't think it would be that covert when it's trying to subdue like people with power doing things, you know what I mean, doing terrible crimes.
Well, no, see, but I don't think that that's exactly the only people they're going to go after. I think they would have to do everything covertly because of the fact that the people who do, even though I know I said 5% of the world's population, and that's very small, but those are the only people you're going to probably hear talk about what's happening to them. You know what I mean? The government will never, ever say whether or not, because like they don't even probably want them to know that they're recruiting. You know what I mean? Like that. I mean, I don't think they would.
Yeah, we would see recruitment, but also I just realized we're going to see like people are going to be like taken and experimented upon and dissected, like, and whether it's our government or other governments or even like independent agencies run by whatever doing that, like that's almost definitely going to happen.
So there is a show, Heroes, and reminds me of what you're saying because, one of the main characters, they called him the man with the horn-rimmed glasses.
Okay.
Noah Bennett.
Right.
And he worked for a company. Well, you think he works for this paper company, right? In Odessa, Texas. It's like, the most mundane. I deal in paper manufacturing and sales of paper.
Okay, something so boring no one's going to
look into it. But in reality, it was like another agency that, that was like recruiting and basically abducting people with powers.
Oh, right.
They wanted to keep track of them. They wanted to research them. And they would keep what they deemed the most dangerous in their own cell.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, very much so. But I mean, it's going to be public knowledge, right? 5% is way more than that. Like 5% of the American population. We're talking tens and tens of millions of people.
Not to mention the fact that everyone has a camera right on their phone.
Exactly. There's no hiding this. It's
not going to hide. It's going to be public. People will know that there's people with powers. But I think anything government related will be hush hush.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a whole registration system, and there's going to be like tiers of like danger level and whatnot. And I think for the most part, though, most of the, I don't know, are we calling them mutants? That feels wrong, and yet I can't think of another name to call them. Superpowered people? That's a mouthful. I'm not saying that more than once.
The genetically different?
Okay, we'll go with mutants. Most of the mutants are going to be allowed to just live their daily life so long as they're not using their powers in a way that's deemed dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Then we're gonna get into the questionable stuff about like what about the dude who can like ignite the atmosphere if he gets really mad? What do you do with that person, right?
That was the argument given, I think, in X-Men 3. One of the senators who was like behind the whole get the cure thing for the X gene was saying like, well, the problem is, there was a kid in a school that was able to suck out all the oxygen in a room. Suffocating everyone in it.
Exactly. So, that's crazy. That's insanity. So there's going to be heavy registration and whatnot. But I think once we get through that first hurdle of like figuring out the registration system, figuring out the laws and the legislation and getting that whole system in place, then we're going to see the rise of like the rock star, if you will, the superstar.
Once there's an acceptable
parameters for them to operate in. Yeah. And then we're going to go the route of the boys where it's like, they're under, what is it? Bot industries are going to be under. The thing is, like, Bot had a monopoly for reasons. I'm not going to get into spoilers, but like I think in this scenario, we're gonna have multiple like companies that are like superhero companies. You know, and there'll be some sort of legal vigilante system. And you're also probably gonna have like government funded specialists with teams full of these people ready to take down criminals that are also superpowered. Because you got to have something to fight that with.
At some point, that's definitely going to have to be a necessity. Yeah, you will have. It's not a matter of if. No, it's going to be when.
Right.
Because, you know, just because you have powers, you know what I mean? That's not going to make you inherently good or bad. You're going to be the same emotionally, probably. You know what I mean?
It's going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man, there's this really cool book series. It's called The Reckoners by Brandon Sanderson. And in this one, I think I might have told you about this before. In this one, like, people start being born with powers. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, they're all evil. All these people. And you end up finding out, I'm not going to get too into spoilers, but like it doesn't matter how good of a person you were. If you start exhibiting these powers, the more you use them, the more your mind turns dark.
Ooh,
and
really?
Like, yeah. And the whole world, it goes like super post-apocalyptic. Like it's crazy, but it's a 4-book series. And in the end, you get your answer as to why all this went down and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It just reminded me.
I would become so evil because I mean, I don't know. In my head, I could not imagining having powers and not using.
Well, they talk about like people who were like trying to form superhero teams against the villains, and then even they were crazy and turned evil.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they were trying to use their powers for good, but it didn't. Anyways, in that one, they called the heroes. They called them epics, which is pretty cool name.
That is cool.
So I know we were talking about how like a Superman couldn't really arise from this. You're limiting them to 2 powers.
Yeah.
But like some things can be super dangerous. I'm just trying to think, is there a combination you or I maybe here can think of that would be such a dangerous combination that like it could make them like a world threat, like a villain that like a real villain that could be like a global threat. I know exactly what
you're talking about. Yeah. I think I picked like those 2 powers.
Oh shit!
Let's hear it. I'm gonna save that.
All right.
Let's go to some Fritz facts here. Okay. Only for the fact that before you say your powers, I want to give some examples of what some people have said that real people in our world have superpowers. Now, I'm going to give you a disclaimer right here. You know, I don't know how true these are.
Oh, I thought you were really. I'm going to give you a disclaimer here. They're very underwhelming.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, some of them maybe. No, I don't know. Sure. No, I'm just going to name off like a few of them.
Okay.
But, you know, like I said, disclaimer, I have no idea if, you know, how looked into these were. You know, supposedly these were looked into. Some of them were, I think, even on the show. There was like a superheroes, mm-hmm. Stan Lee's Superheroes, I think it was called.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's get into them. So, in 1999, a baby was born in Germany that many refer to now as Uber Boy, because he was born with well-developed muscles and very little fat, making him appear like ripped.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I know, right? And
my son is very close to being born, and I hope he's an Uber baby.
Right? Dude, that would be awesome. But the thing, too, is like, it's also from Germany. I don't know why. It's probably because the movies I watched, Germany always has that, like, the Uber boy or like the you know what I mean? Like in like, you know, I mean, what do they always say? Like German. In Die Hard, like usually, you know, it's like the German, you know, terrorist guy that's the evil bad guy. You know what I mean? Like,
I've never seen Die Hard.
Oh. Will.
One of these days you're gonna say a movie, I'll be like, I've seen that. I know that reference.
No, and yes, that's gonna be our most famous episode ever. No, so the baby was born in Germany, and he was born with a genetic disorder that eliminates the myostatin gene, and that gene limits muscle development. So because he doesn't have it, the muscle development can go crazy, right? It was reported that at age 5, he could hold 7-pound dumbbells with his arms stretched out, which is reported to be difficult for even the average adult.
Wait, 7-pound dumbbells with arms stretched out? That's like difficult
to hold it there for like a certain amount of time. Like after a while, you'll get tired. But he could like hold it there for seemingly, indefinitely. Yeah. Other members of his family were also known to exhibit excessive strength. Mm-hmm. This one I found cool because it did remind me of like the mutant gene thing, right? You know, including his grandfather, who is said to lift 330-pound paving stones single-handedly.
I don't know. Like, I'd have to see that to believe that.
I mean, like I said, I don't know how, you know, looked into
how old is his grandpa? Were there not newspaper clippings of this man just lifting 300 pounds cement blocks with his hands? Yeah, that's a lie.
Yeah.
Anyways, so...
His superpower, he'll pave your driveway.
Exactly. This kid, is there any detrimental effects? How old is this kid now?
Okay, so they said that the identity of this kid is they're trying to hold it very private because the family doesn't want, you know
Absolutely.
What I mean? So it didn't give any of that.
Okay.
It did say, though, that scientists are still studying Uber Boy's muscle development.
Okay.
Because they're hoping that they can discover therapies to help patients with muscular dystrophy.
Yeah, hell yeah. Absolutely.
So I thought that was really
I'm very
cool.
curious to know if there's detrimental effects, but otherwise, if true, and there really isn't much on the detrimental effects side, I call that a superpower.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. As a toddler, Ben Underwood was blinded due to cancer.
Oh,
However, he developed the skill of echolocation to quote unquote see by clicking his tongue, which isn't too far off. I mean, like obviously certain animals do that, right?
Relatively believable because I've read, and I don't know if it's true because I didn't look that deep into it, but I've heard that every time we enter a new room, there's an unconscious sound that we each make. In order to get like a unconscious or subconscious like
spatial awareness.
Spatial awareness, yeah. I always tell myself I'm going to try and pay close attention to like if I do something or if I make some sort of strange noise that I'm not aware of. I always forget.
Oh, I never think about that.
They say most of us do it. I don't know if it's true. I haven't it's not like I've read an extensive paper on it, so I could be totally wrong.
Is that why when you came in here, like you made like, I heard like some weird noise.
Some weird like whistle call.
Yeah, I know, right?
To the skies.
Like
what are you talking about, Tom?
I didn't do that. I didn't make a noise. But
so okay, I'm kind of more on board with this.
Mm-hmm. So, but however. You know, he was able to read the sound waves that would bounce off the objects around him. That's what echolocation is. Mm-hmm. But they said that he wasn't able to just navigate around these objects. He was able to actually identify what he was quote unquote seeing. Yeah, I know, right?
Bullshit.
However, they did go on to say that he was able to function like any other teenager, and he even taught himself how to rollerblade, skateboard, and participate in martial arts.
I mean, I can believe a lot of that. I don't know, I mean, I wouldn't be so surprised, to the point of unbelievability that he could, discern
quote unquote see
objects. by clicking around? Okay, no, I don't believe it.
I mean,
I talked myself out of it.
At first you're like, yeah, okay, no.
I mean, I believe he could find his way around and detect objects that are like the general like shape of stuff. Yeah. I don't think he's guessing that like he's like sitting here clicking and like that's a laptop, that's a microphone, that's a cup. Like that's not happening.
I have a feeling that was exaggerated. I actually think they probably meant, well, I know that there's something 3 feet high and 2 feet wide in front of me. Maybe that far.
Maybe, yes. But I'm with you there. Yeah. Maybe that far, even that I'm skeptical, but okay, for sure.
And in the last one you asked if there was any downfall. Unfortunately for Ben Underwood, he did pass away in 2009 from the same cancer that took his eyesight. So that
that's sad. That has nothing to do with his superpower, though.
No, but like it was the same one that took his eyesight, which made him, grow that skill of echolocation in the first place. But,
tangentially related for sure.
Another one was Natasha Demkina, at 10 years old, discovered she could scan her mother's body just by looking at her with her eyes.
What?
Scan her mother's body and describe.
What does that mean?
To look up and down with her eyes.
All right. Sorry.
To scan her mother's body and describe in intimate detail the location and condition of all her organs. Soon, obviously, news of this spread. Her neighbors were coming around, and of her area beginning to ask, her like for scans, right? Yeah. So, a children's hospital decided to test her abilities, and while she was there, she was able to draw a diagram of one of the doctor's stomachs with a dark area in the exact spot of his ulcer. And then she also contested another patient that was there that had a cancer diagnosis. She kept telling her it's not cancer. And then later, tests were redone on this patient, and the cancer was a benign cyst, which...
So the second one you just said there, like that's believable. People tell each other bullshit all the time,
and then half the time, because you have a 50-50 shot.
The first one, if I could see some like legitimate documentation with the doctor saying like, no, she like seriously predicted the shit out of this. Like,
I doubt that there's
no, because that one's bullshit. Give me the next one.
We need to have like a stamp like bullshit.
we do. Does this pass my bullshit stamp test?
Okay, here's the last one.
Okay.
Dave Mullins, and I actually think this one's probably the most realistic other than Uberboy. Dave Mullins is capable of swimming underwater for not only a record amount of time, but also a record distance. In September of 2007, he shattered his own record when he swam underwater for 4 minutes and 2 seconds, swimming a total distance of 244 meters or 800 feet.
Goddamn.
He also set a free diving record. These ones scare me. Do you know what free diving is?
It's when they dive super deep with like no apparatus or anything whatsoever.
Yes, on a single breath. Yeah, those I get when I watch those, I get anxiety.
Fair enough.
But so he also set a free diving record in April of 2008 when he dove 108 meters or 354 feet on a single breath with no oxygen or specialized equipment.
Dude. You got to be careful coming up too.
Yeah. I hear that like you have to. Like you're supposed to let out a little bit of bubbles or whatever, and you should float, never going faster than the bubbles.
Yeah, it has to do with nitrogen and the expansion of nitrogen gas, but yeah.
What do they call that? The Benz?
Yes,
I think it's called
the Benz, yes.
Anyways, he trains his muscles to work while deprived of oxygen, but there is a downfall to that. So because he does that, there is a tremendous buildup of lactic acid in his muscles.
Okay.
So after doing like a record-breaking swim like that or whatever, he needs like a few days or more to even recover.
Yeah, I'm sure it's incredibly taxing. Believable, and I'm sure, well, obviously, this is true. It's been recorded.
Yeah.
I don't think it quite crosses into superpower territory. I think it's just one of those extreme athleticism style stuff. I mean, it's fucking cool, and it's very close to what I would call a superpower, but not
I think that's probably one of the closest you can get in our real world.
Yeah, besides Uberboy.
Oh, yeah, and Uberboy, too.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. I know, here's one I've heard of. I don't know if it's true, and I don't have, like, remembrance of, like, a specific name or anything, but I know that there was at least one person who they were doing studies on. He had incredible endurance because he doesn't build up.
Because he doesn't build up lactic acid,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So he doesn't feel the tiredness or pain.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the reason that we build up that acid is to prevent ourselves from hurting ourselves.
Yeah.
So, like, there is some detrimental effects there. But, yeah, the dude could just run and never get tired.
Yeah.
So, that's a superpower, too, kind of.
Yeah, well, I think I might have been, when I was doing the research, I might have crossed that guy out, like, when I was researching on there, because there was another person with similar things. They were talking about, you know, like, a lot of those, like, sideshow people who, like, pierce their, you know, like a metal nail through their cheeks or whatever and all that kind of stuff. And they were talking about how his nerves were different when he was born and he wasn't feeling pain like we do.
Right.
And so, you know, which would be dangerous because you're right. Pain is there for us to know something's wrong with the body.
Those are security systems. Exactly. Yeah. So, okay. Did you have any more of the facts?
So those were some examples of what people think may be real life
analogs. Okay. Cool stuff. You said you thought of this combination.
So,
and I want to know what that... Oh, is it your combination?
I picked these
for yourself.
For myself.
Oh,
this is what my mutant abilities would be.
If you
you said this, like, would there be like a really bad combination?
Yeah.
And I think it's I think it's telepathy and telekinesis.
Okay.
Because not only can I control or read your thoughts.
Reading thoughts. That's what telepathy is. That's you're talking about.
But telekinesis, I can move objects whatever I want with my own. So you try to shoot at me or do whatever it is that you try to do, I can take control.
If you have that level of power, if you are Charles Xavier plus Jean Grey, then yes, you're a global threat if you're smart enough to be a global threat.
Yeah.
But again, it has to be paired with the drive and the intelligence. But what you're really talking about is about 4 different powers, though, man. That's not really 2. Like,
well, but see, that's the thing. Like, if you're one power, you know, for example, if you had like super breath, right, or something like that, well, that can be viewed as multiple powers too. You could freeze someone you could heat something up really bad if you use hot breath.
I wouldn't allow that. I'm saying you either have frost breath or fire breath. You can't have super breath. What is this?
This is this universe, Will. You can have it.
I mean, that is a good combination. But I was thinking, like, what is a combination of 2 powers that could really
would those be your choices?
Oh no, God no. Mine would be very practical. If I got to choose, I would choose 2. Number 1 would be teleportation. Let me go wherever I want to go without having to deal with traffic or lines or anything really, and then get back home. I just want to go back home.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, now I can get back home so much faster. It'll be great. The other power, I didn't come into this thinking I was going to get to choose a second one until you gave me your parameters. There are many times in life where I would just love to freeze time for just a fucking couple hours so I could take a nap or play some video games or just chill with no one fucking bugging me.
Yeah.
So,
now, wait a minute. If you're freezing time, though, will these electronics and everything work? Will electricity still flow? Would you be able to play the game?
I mean, I'm mostly going to take naps, but no, you do. Yeah, there's a lot of drawbacks to the time stopping stuff. Well, I mean, let's start with the first one. If I stopped time, except for myself, well, I'm fucked because I'm about to get launched into fucking space or splattered into the ground as the world that's traveling.
Oh, 5,000, I never thought about that.
Yeah, miles.
That's a good.
It's revolving at 5,000 miles per hour. It's hurtling through space at who knows how much further, orbiting a sun that's moving around the galaxy even faster. And who knows how fast the galaxy itself is moving. So yeah, I would become nothing in an instant, and then time would either be permanently stuck frozen or would instantly unfreeze, depending on how these powers work.
I was also thinking too, like, if that wasn't going, I never thought about that. That's very interesting. That's a good one. But I was also thinking, if you froze time enough and you're not frozen, sooner or later that's going to catch up to where you might be a little noticeably older than everyone else that's around you.
You would be. And if you did it enough
and for long enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I would probably do it just to catch like a couple hours extra sleep. Yeah. God knows I need it. Actually, no, I take that back. You know what I'm going to... My 2 superpowers, telepathy and then never needing to sleep. Constantly feeling rested are the 2 things. Dude, I'm going to get so much done. I'm going to have 10 podcasts. I'm going to be an expert in like 10 new skills by the end of the year. It's going to be great.
I have a feeling we talked about this in that other episode.
I know, we did. But, But yeah, those would definitely be my powers. I would love to travel. I would love to see more places. There's so many places in the world I want to see that I'll probably never get to see.
I was going to do teleportation.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool one, and just
Have you seen the movie Jumper?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I would do what he did, maybe without the stealing part.
Yeah.
But like I would do the traveling. I would be all over the place. I'd be so happy.
I did like that. I did like the movie Jumper, and I kind of liked how it happened. But I'm always been a fan of Nightcrawler and how he teleports.
Yeah. He's great. He's fantastic.
Just and he's just.
And that when he teleports, he actually travels through hell.
Yeah, I heard, and that's why that
as a brimstone
puff of smoke has that brimstone smell.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't. That would be a little scary. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want,
absolutely.
that.
I would stop teleporting immediately if I knew that's what was happening.
Let me just take the plane, please.
Indeed. But you would choose. Why? Okay, what practical use would you get out of your telepathy and your telekinesis?
Okay, I don't know how many times I mentioned this probably in all of our episodes, but like, I am curious. It's curiosity.
God. You would invade people's minds and like not give them their own like privacy.
Yes, exactly. I would. You know what I mean? Like, I know morally and ethically that's wrong.
That's super wrong.
Yes, but I be honest, if it would be a problem of mine if I had this ability, it would be a huge problem because I don't think I can turn it off. You know what I mean? And I mean voluntarily. You know what I mean? I feel like curiosity is going to kill me one day. I have to do it. I would be too curious.
Interesting.
Now, I would be, the other side of that, though, I would be very, it would be like a vault. If I were reading someone's mind, though, I'm never revealing unless it's something like I know that they're going to murder. You're good at keeping
a secret.
Oh, yeah. Right, I would never, reading someone's mind, I would never be like, oh, dude, this person, whatever, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not what I would be using that for.
That would be a great line of, great career path to take as a telepath would be a detective.
Yeah, that would be. Oh man, you'd be the phenomenal detective out there.
Yeah.
I did want to say this real quick too, as we were talking about different, you mentioned some animes and stuff like that. I've been watching this show called Invincible. It's on Amazon Prime, right? It's an Amazon Prime original.
Yeah, it's based off a comic book.
Yeah, and they made it into an anime now, or a card, animated feature. Anyways, I thought that this show was genius for the fact that even though these people had powers, it was very difficult for them to still go and save people's lives. Because every time you watch something like Superman or whatever, and don't get me wrong, I know that they have problems too. They have difficulties doing certain things, but they showed, for example, a top portion of a building was damaged so much that it was sliding off, and it was an apartment building. Yeah. And the main character tries to go and hold it up. Physics would say that the weight of all this that he's holding up, because he's such a small person at a point, it's going to break around him. Yep. Well, but in superhero movies that doesn't happen.
No, you see Superman pick up a tank in one hand.
Exactly.
It's no, that tank would warp and fall apart because you're holding it from a single point. Yeah. It just
exactly. And on this one, it shows exactly what would happen, and he didn't save everyone. In fact, I think on that part he didn't save anyone. But it's just, I wanted to point that out just for the fact that I know sometimes it seems like, if I had these powers, life would be so much. I could do anything. Yeah. But you know what? You're still going to run into a lot of problems. True that. It's going to be
absolutely.
But dude, could you imagine?
Breaking news, a new study suggests leaving an iTunes review is very important for newly created podcasts. So to nurture your new favorite podcast, make sure to leave an iTunes review. This has been Fritz Frivolous, reminding you to like, comment, and subscribe. Will and Tom, back to you.
It was the butler in this study with the revolver. Some of us, at one point or another, have probably thought about how to solve a murder. But how many of us have ever thought about how to commit the perfect murder? Perhaps you have. Perhaps you've thought about it more than you're willing to admit, or maybe more than you care to know. But if you were to commit murder, or for legal purposes, let's say, had to commit murder, how would you do it? What would you use? How would you get away and leave no traces leading back to you? Let us join in on two of the criminal underworld's most heinous hitmen, Will and Tom, as they try to put this question to rest, once and for all.
And we're back.
Indeed.
So, this next one, Will, I don't know how you're going to react to this.
Yeah, you've said that a few times already.
Yeah, so I'm just
very curious, but also a little nervous.
I'm going to come out and just say this one.
Oh boy, okay.
What if you committed murder?
Oh boy, what if I committed murder?
Mm-hmm.
Now, so is this more of a question of like, what would I do to try and get away with it?
This is going to be the objective of this one. I wanted to see how you would devise the quote-unquote perfect murder.
Oh, okay. So this is super premeditated.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay.
But however, I know that if I asked you, what if you committed murder? I know you would say, like, well, you wouldn't. So here are the parameters.
Here we go.
Okay. You are forced to commit murder.
Okay.
Right? However you want to say you're forced, whether it be...
They're holding my family hostage.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, holding your family hostage. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
The person that you must kill is a very public figure, a ruler, a monarch of a small but wealthy country in Eastern Europe. And they are seen by most around the world.
Why do we pick Eastern Europe?
Because I always like Eastern Europe.
Okay,
I don't know. I don't know why, but like
right.
I always do. Whenever I hear like a monarch or something, I'm always thinking Eastern Europe. Anyways.
Okay.
But they are seen by most around the world as a cruel dictator. They obviously have private security. They have a wife, 3 kids, one 10-year-old, one 15-year-old, and one 20-year-old, 5 years spaced apart.
I don't have to kill all of them, right?
You don't have to.
Okay, good.
They are social during the middle months of the year, usually during summer. They're seen about at like major, fashion shows or things that go around that rich people. I guess in my head I imagine them doing, right? I'm not rich, but so
whatever rich.
So
people
I don't know, However, usually at the beginning and ends of the years, they're usually like in their own mansion, like with their family vacationing somewhere around the world.
Okay.
But they're not going out in public as much.
Are they like active monarchs, or are they like the Queen of England, where they're not actually controlling the government?
Oh no, they're active. Oh yeah, it's a small active, they're active monarch.
I mean, are there any active monarchs in Eastern Europe?
For this question, there is.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I don't know.
All right.
I actually don't know, to be honest with you. Like,
I just want you to understand, putting these people in Eastern Europe has made my life so difficult. How the fuck am I going to get there? And I don't even speak the language.
Well, you know what? That could be part of your plan, because you don't know if maybe they will vacation in America sometime. Okay, or maybe there's like a thing in New York, like a huge fashion show in New York, and they're going to be a part of that. You never know. I'm just saying it could happen.
What's my timeline?
So, the murder must take place within a month of when you're forced, when they tell you who you're supposed to murder.
Okay.
So you have 1 month to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it cannot be tied back to you in any way.
Oh man, okay, yeah, exactly. You just ruined like half of what I was gonna say.
Oh really? Well,
I don't know where I was gonna go with it exactly, but I was like, "There's no way." So like, my life's over. I gotta protect my kids and my wife.
Mm-hmm.
I just gotta get this done. Like, I'll go.
Okay, let's explore if it doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, you would have just went in there.
It's like, bam. Okay, arrest me. Why'd you do it? I was told to.
You would have busted Leroy Jenkins and just.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I would do. Okay, but in this storyline, I'm trying to preserve it. Can't be tied back to me.
Yeah.
Can't be tied back to me. Theoretically, I'm trying not to get caught.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question for you, and now it's completely slipped my mind. What was the timeline again? Do I have a year?
1 month.
I have one. Oh God, I have 1 month. Oh boy. Do I get any form of help from the people that are like do I get resources of any kind?
You know what? Let me rephrase that. That seems like short time. You at least get 4 months. You get 4 months to complete this task.
Okay.
I figured and yes, okay. So any resources that you want or need will be provided for you.
Okay.
But
within reason.
Yeah, within reason, and not just a blanket of everything. No, you need to specifically tell them what you want. When you devise your plan, you're like, I need this, and this. You specifically need to tell them, I need those items only. They're not just going to give you a blanket.
Okay, I can't hire. Can I hire a sniper?
Okay. So actually, let me get to these would yous. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So let me ask you this first. Would you tell family or friends?
No. No.
Not even for safety reasons?
No.
There's no one
I'll
you
leave
trust?
a manifesto
Is there no one
to be
you
found
trust?
upon my death.
Okay. I knew I don't know why I'm laughing so hard because I actually half expected you to answer like that. I just wanted you to have the reaction. That's why I put that in there. Okay, actually, this was the next question. Would you hire a hitman or assassin? You are allowed to do that.
Yes.
But
you
there's problems with that.
a professional to do a job, right?
And now this other person knows that you had him go kill this monarch.
Okay, so I would try and hire this hitman anonymously. I would try and figure out channels to go through where I'm wearing a face cover, I have no identifiers, I have a voice modulator on, I have the money. They understand that I don't want them to know who I am. They probably deal with this shit all the time because guess what? They kill people for a living.
True.
So that's what I'm going with. I would definitely try and go down the avenue of hiring a professional because I'll tell you what, like, there's a lot of things in life I'm not good at. I'm not good at fixing things around the house. I try my best, and it doesn't come out great. But whenever I have a professional, it comes out fantastic.
Right on. Would you... Okay, this was... Let's say you couldn't hire the hitman.
Yes.
Let's say you couldn't find someone competent enough.
Yeah.
Would you try to... what weapons or tools would you try to bring along? Like, do you have, like, certain things where you're like, you know what? I want to try... You know, like if maybe you thought explosives were a good idea. You know what I mean? Maybe you want to just boom.
No, I don't want the collateral damage.
Okay.
Fuck that shit. I'm already being forced to kill one person. I'm not killing more.
Maybe you be more subtle and use poison?
That's the thing is, like, if I had, like, 5 years to pull this off, like, I might try and devise a plan.
5 years?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I might try and devise a plan where I can work my way into, like, I don't know, the servants' quarter of this place,
I see.
And then straight up poison somebody and blame it on, I don't know, Claudia down the hall.
I still think you could probably do that in less than 5 years. I think you could probably get onto a staff that he may be using
for that. These people live in Eastern Europe. I don't know how I'm even going to get a visa to get there. Like,
well, no. That would be provided for you.
I don't
travel too.
I don't know how I'm going to speak the language well enough to get the job.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And we're talking about a monarchy. The security is going to be top notch. They're going to only want to hire the best.
Maybe you're a mute servant. And you don't have to talk.
But I need to be able to understand and he'd be able to listen. But you said 4 months, so I don't have 5 years to even do that plan. I would have to find out, like, all their public appearances. Like, what's the most public? When will they be the most vulnerable?
This reminds me of the game Hitman.
I've never played it, but I've heard it's good.
Oh, it is awesome.
And then comes the problem, like, 4 months doesn't give me enough, like, weapons training. Like, I can't train to be a sniper in 4 months. I can't even train to probably be that great of a shot with a handgun from 50 feet away in 4 months. I don't know how any of that works. But, and then even if I do that, or the sniper thing, chances are, like, I have to have the perfect getaway plan. So
yeah, because you can't have it, you know what I mean? That would be
I take it you've put some thought into this. So why don't you tell me how you would do
obviously
it,
I would.
And then maybe it'll help me come up with ideas.
You know what? Okay, let's go to okay, let's go to what I would do. However, you brought up interesting facts that I didn't think about. Okay. And so it does ruin a little bit because because some of the questions I was going to ask you was like if you were to try this yourself, right? You couldn't find a competent hitman or assassin. And I was going to ask you if you would try to do it close up or from afar, right? You chose the more close up route or at least that's what you mentioned first. Like, if I had 5 years, I would try
how
to
do I get within 10 feet of them?
Yeah, and then like, you'd go.
Whether it's me coming at them with a knife or I don't know, a Garrett or a gun, like I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah. See, I would most likely try at first from afar, right? And I would try to snipe, probably, using whatever sniper gun that I can get, the best one that these whoever will provide me, and then after that, melt down the gun. You know what I mean? I didn't think about a getaway, and I also didn't think about
training how to use
a sniper rifle, because I figure I'm already good since I'm really good at Battlefield, and in that game I snipe all the time. I know it's
like,
not the same.
I mean, honestly, and the thing on sniping is like sniping's not really a one-man job most of the time.
Yeah, it's usually they have a spotter that's over there. Yeah,
so like already sniping's not a good idea.
So
for
I did.
Untraceable.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and when you brought that up, I was like, oh, those are very good, valid points.
Yeah.
However, I was thinking if I did have to, if I couldn't do it that way, I would try to go close up. I would try to use a disguise, whatever I could. Probably not something that needs to be so trustworthy as, like, let's say the wait staff or like the cleaning service or whatever he uses, because you got to imagine that these people would be using the same service, if not hired their own, team of people to do that, that they would know. It would have to be something that you can, I don't know, like, have to come up with that can happen in like an emergency situation. Maybe like a plumber or something like that, right? Yeah. And then I would use a disguise to go in like that, and I would probably try to use poison. I think at that point, because of the fact that, to me, there's a drawback to it, because you may not know if he's the one getting the poison. And that would worry me, because I do not want collateral damage. Yeah. I do not want collateral damage, and I almost wanted to go the route of, like, I wouldn't kill his family. There's no way I would kill his family.
There's no way.
But maybe to use them as leverage. But then I was like, no, that's also just as bad. So
maybe not just as bad, but very bad.
So the poison thing would be the good thing about that.
There's no guarantee the poison even does the kill. Like, they might be resistant to it. It might be a botched, like, vial.
Yeah,
they might not have enough of it when they take it.
But if it did work, I think that would be the most, like, it wouldn't be traced back to me. You know what I mean? Like, but I think that's how I would most likely go about it. It would be close up, using the disguise, creating some kind of fake emergency that I can go in there with it.
It's going to be so difficult to get close to them. Like, someone on that level of importance literally has a security team around them at all times and going into rooms before them and searching stuff. Because I was thinking about, like, okay, well, maybe I can find out what hotel they're going to stay at. Maybe I can work my way onto the staff, even in a temporary fashion, in order to completely case the joint, know where the security cameras are, be able to find my way into the room the most undetected I possibly could be, and maybe in the best hiding place that I could. But I mean, chances are their security team is going to scan through the whole room and find me.
And then you brought up the fact too, like, if you could find out, like, maybe where they're going to be at some public event, not only are you going to have to deal with their own personal security, but now that public event's going to have their security. Yeah. You know what I mean? And there's going to be so many more public, people there, the innocent bystanders.
Yeah.
But that would be another route too, if you could somehow infiltrate that. You know what I mean? That would be harder for them to at least vouch for who you are, because there's going to be so many people there.
I think the way to approach this best is you really got to rely on whoever these people are that hired you. Maybe there's something they can tell you, like, no matter who we are, like, we want private moments in our life, right? Like, we want at least a little bit of privacy. So maybe once a week, we haven't even named this person we're trying to kill, but, like, we'll the dictator, we'll call them. The dictator wants a cigar on their balcony. Everyone leave me the fuck alone. This is my cigar time on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if I know that one detail, maybe I can plan some crazy-ass plan where I fucking hang glide it, swoop, leap down to the balcony, slice his throat, jump back on the hang glider.
And it's like, da-da-da-da, right? And then
exactly, yes.
That would be the best. Okay, you know what? Oh, that's a very good idea. Okay, so let's see how we would get to that. How would you find that piece of information? That might not be that hard to do.
My point is, like, I would need these people that have hired me to give me that, like, and then I can work out the rest there. It's like, okay, he always stays at the New York blah 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 hotel in this suite. That balcony is right there, and I could probably get to it if I hang glide from this skyscraper. Obviously, the hang glide thing is probably stupid, but right now that's what I'm thinking.
Well, I mean, let's say they don't. Let's say this agency that hired you, or whatever they're doing, right? They don't get that information. If you think about it, you follow this guy around at least, even you have 4 months. So even for a month, you might be able to get some type of a routine.
Yeah.
To where that would yield
if I could get close enough to observe.
It would yield that information to you hopefully, right?
Or, maybe they like to golf, and maybe I can work my way into the staff of the golf company. And
exactly, because that would
club them to death with their own freaking driver. I don't know how I'll probably get caught. But yeah, it's gotta be something like that. You gotta get them in their most private moment, but you gotta know ahead of time, and you gotta figure out your way to get to that private moment as close as you can undetected.
I think that actually, now that you bring that up, that's probably, I think, the best way.
I can't think of another way, especially if you can't have teammates. No one can ever know, and you can't. You don't have enough time to get the training and a lot of stuff you need for some of the crazier stuff. So I think that's the best route. That's how I would approach it.
An injection with poison.
Yeah, there we go.
Because that's highly concealable. You also don't have to worry about a murder weapon that you know.
Got to be a good poison, because unless you're real pinpoint, being able to get it into an artery is going to be difficult unless you're trained for that.
It would be powerful poison. I don't think they would
intramuscular. But that's going to leave a mess in its own way. That'll be very obvious when there's a giant purple welt on their fucking arm.
So
I'm going to fail at this. I'm telling you that right now. I'm just going to fail at this. Because I don't have enough faith in myself to get this done. So honestly, what I would really, really do is I would probably try and find a way to rescue my wife and kids.
That would probably be easier, right?
It might not be easier, but I'm going to fail one way or another. Unless they tell me, hey, fail or succeed, your family's okay, and then, of course, I'm going to go for it. But if it's if you don't do this, if you fail, they're done for. Well, shit.
Exactly.
If I can find a more feasible way to just figure out a way to rescue them and, I don't know, escape to, Central America or somewhere where hopefully they never find me, I might go for that instead.
Yeah, I think that would be. I think that would probably be the best way to go about it. Quickly, let's go to some Fritz facts here I found. Murder, as defined in common law countries, is the unlawful killing of another human being with intent or malice aforethought.
Right.
And generally, this state of mind distinguishes murder from other forms of unlawful homicide, such as manslaughter, which is basically an unplanned murder.
It was an accident.
Exactly. Yeah. Or maybe during a time of passion, you didn't think or plan that you're going to murder this person.
Isn't that that's a different degree of murder?
Yes, it is a different degree.
Yeah.
They have different degrees of manslaughter as well.
Yeah.
But typically, those found guilty of murder are sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, and even a death sentence, but that kind of varies from state to state.
Also, I believe a life sentence usually is only 25 years.
Yeah, they usually say it's life. So sometimes they'll do multiple life sentences depending on the age.
Yeah, I also think there's a phrasing where they can basically say life, but they mean, oh no, how long you're alive.
Yeah.
But it's a phrasing thing, and I'm not sure how that works. I'm not a lawyer.
In 2012, though, the Supreme Court ruled that mandatory sentences of life without the possibility of parole are unconstitutional for juvenile offenders. So I guess if you're juvenile, you're not going to be able to get that sentencing.
No. Here's a question. Back to the untraceable thing. Sorry.
No, that's good.
The untraceable bit, I take it so that they could protect themselves, right?
Yeah, and then for the fact too that I would want to make it untraceable because even if I get my family back, I don't want what I mean. Now I'm.
No. The reason I ask because those are the parameters you laid down.
Yeah.
If what they're concerned about is it being traced back to them, well then I'm just going to murder suicide. That's way easier.
You would murder them and then kill yourself?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Because it's going to save my family.
Yeah, I guess so.
And I'm going to fail otherwise, and this is way easier. Anyways.
Wow, you took it to a dark place.
I mean,
no, you know what? But if to save your family, I mean, hey,
yes. Woo! Solved your puzzle, Tom.
Boom. Perfect. Devise the perfect murder. Kill yourself.
Exactly.
So, okay.
I feel good about my answer now.
Back to Fritz facts. We'll get back to that. Roughly 1 in 15,000 people are murdered in the United States. Computed
and you
over.
said I took it to a dark place. What is this?
I know. Just there's some things I thought were interesting. Computed over a 75 year lifespan, that equates to about 1 in 200 chance of being murdered in an American's lifetime. Harold Shipman was an English general practitioner and may be the most prolific serial killer in modern history.
Who?
His name is Harold Shipman.
Okay.
On January 31st, year 2000, he was found guilty of murdering 15 patients under his care. However, there were approximately 250 victims that he murdered that they found like proof for. Yeah, that's a lot.
Did he have like a killer name? Because I've never heard that name before.
Not that I know. I know, right? I would think that you would have probably heard that. No.
Gnarly. I mean, you know me. I'm really not into true crime.
Yeah.
It's like, if anything, it repels me as a genre, but that's wild.
Yeah. His name was Harold Shipman. I didn't see any kind of like killer nickname.
And that's the most boring killer name I've ever heard in my life. That's crazy.
Like, oh my God, did you hear about Harold Shipman?
But still, that's gnarly. Wow.
And the last one here I got, in 1987, there were 198 separate serial killers active in the USA, compared to only 43 active in 2015 and 2 in 2019. This is all according to a database run by the Radford University and the Florida Gulf Coast University.
Now, I wonder if that has to do with the fact that we're better at detecting these things,
I think,
or if there really is just like a huge spike because of, I don't know, some sort of intangible thing that we're not correlating quite yet.
I feel like over time, it's probably that they're able to understand, you know what I mean, like and
I can see that, for sure.
Like what or who may be like a serial killer, and then they could probably find them out more. Yeah, detect them more than they were.
Interesting.
But that's a pretty big drop. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like 198 1987 to 43 in 2015.
Oh, I had the dates. I misheard you. I thought it was the other way around.
It was dropping, yeah.
Well, I do know that violent crimes have been doing nothing but going down for like the last 100 years. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah. Cool So, just to recap, devise the perfect murder. Will would go and he would find a private moment. He would fly in on his hang glider,
which would never work for me. I'm terrified of heights. I mean, I would probably try it anyways in this case for lack of thinking of anything better to do.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So while the monarch is having his private time cigar on his balcony, Will be flying down from the sky and gliding on his hang glider. Mm-hmm. And then he would murder this monarch.
I would literally just run up, slice. Oh, no.
And then kill himself.
In this case, I'm not killing myself. No.
Okay.
The killing myself part is like, wait, can I get around this don't trace it back to me rule and go back to my original idea of just getting within 10 feet?
Yeah.
Murdering them, taking myself out, bam, done. Mm-hmm. Like, who even cares at that point?
Yeah.
I saved my family.
I think that's a good point.
Sorry, guy. I heard you were a bad king.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is a good plan, though. I think you would want to,
I mean, this reflects. It's because of my lack of skills, my lack of training, my lack of time, my lack of resources. Mm-hmm. That's to me, me in my position. Mm-hmm. If I were really put in that position, that would be my best bet.
Yeah, and follow the person around. Yeah. See the routine. Find a private moment. In and out. You know what I mean? Just in general,
the murder-suicide
in general
part.
terms. Oh, in the murder-suicide?
Yes. I'm saying, like, me. As who I am, like, when it comes down to it, that would be my best bet.
Yeah.
Like, if that passes their stupid untraceable rule, then that's what I gotta do. Because there's no other way. And, like, if I fail, my family dies. So, like, that's where I gotta go.
Well, let us hope you do not fail. But,
Indeed.
Dude, could you imagine?
And that is all we have for you tonight. We will continue to bring you up-to-date coverage as new imaginings develop. Please don't forget to leave an iTunes review, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Remember you can follow us on YouTube and on Twitter at DCYImagine. And if you would like to contact us or tell us what you are imagining, you can email us at dudecouldyouimagine@gmail.com. This has been Fritz Frivolous, and from all of us here at Dude Could You Imagine, keep on imagining.
Dude, could you imagine?
I don't want to.
Dude, that one was so funny, dude. Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
Okay.